families, welcome back once again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This video is about Mali, military, government, AES, and more. I do not share a lot about Mali enough on this channel, but I was grateful when I saw this interview happen just 2 days ago, because I was following a journey that I've shared too already when the defense minister General Camara was in Kidal. Kidal is a very important town in Mali. Many of us, for me, I didn't know much about this till I started this journey. If you're like me, you will enjoy this interview. Please, if you can watch it on telly, it's the best because it's long. I don't want to make it part 1, 2, 3. We will learn a lot about this interview concerning AES, the defense, and everything in between. I will leave you here, families, and I'll be back. Thank you for your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kidal. Nearly 2 years ago, the Malian armed forces made a triumphant entry into the city, which had remained outside the national fold for more than a decade. The city defied the authority of the state, and armed groups ruled here as absolute masters. The army marked its return to Kidal in November 2023, and since then the national flag has been flying over public buildings. The reconquest of the territory and the protection of people and their property are the top priorities for the transitional authorities. This sovereign mission is being carried out by the defense and security forces with courage and self-sacrifice. The army is now revitalized, better trained, better equipped, and has increased personnel to wage an unrelenting fight against terrorism. To ensure the effective operation of this defense force, an Army Corps General, the Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, Camara, is receiving us here in Kidal as part of a government communication initiative. This is the launch of Malikora Tassira, 3rd edition. The platform for government members to speak is back on the airwaves of the Mali Radio and Television Office. All members of the government team will come onto our set to inform you about the actions taken, the challenges faced, and also the prospects ahead. An exercise in accountability, an initiative of Sigma, the Government Information Center, in collaboration with ORTM, ANCD, and partner media outlets. Without further delay, I suggest we go meet the Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, Army Corps General Camara, at Camp 2 on the parade ground, that is at Camp 2 in Kidal. What are you doing? Thank you. Good evening, Minister.
Good evening.
Thank you for welcoming us here in Kidal, and joining me to interview you is Sekou Tangara from Africa Television. Good evening, Sekou.
Good evening, Yaya. Good evening, Minister.
And to begin, dear viewers, we invite you to watch a summary of the activities carried out by the department. This report is presented by Brahmas Traore.
The Malian army is rising from its ashes and reclaiming its historic status as a seasoned and combative force dedicated solely to the defense of the country. Now, the Sentinel of Social Peace projects a new, more reassuring image to the Malian people. At the helm of this renewal of the Malian armed forces, and also serving as the president of the transition, is Army General Assimi Goïta. This is an undeniable truth. The army is an essential pillar upon which a stable and peaceful society is built. Without it, achieving these aspirations becomes a utopian obvious fact that today stands as an absolute priority. It is in this context that a vast annual program for recruiting thousands of young people into the various branches of the Malian armed forces has been adopted. Recruitment and training certainly go hand in hand in the context of rebuilding our defense apparatus, from the modernization and development of military training institutions to specialized training and courses in international humanitarian law. Achievements are significant. In the air, the Malian army now commands absolute mastery. A few months ago, the national skies were devoid of any real aerial assets worthy of the name for reclaiming territorial sovereignty. The acquisition of this state-of-the-art aircraft now allows the Malian armed forces to wage this battle with confidence. And the ground as well, mobility has become much easier for the Malian armed forces thanks to these new acquisitions of tactical combat vehicles, armored vehicles, logistics trucks, and ambulances, which enable the farmer to meet operational requirements in the field. These latest generation military equipment are being confidently used on the ground against the forces of evil. For years now, the Malian army has no longer been in a defensive posture, but rather an offensive one. All of this is supported by the construction and rehabilitation of infrastructure such as military bases, training centers, and the military hospital. The hunt for the enemies of peace has thus been launched through military operations, resulting in the dismantling of several terrorist bases and the seizure of equipment and materials. In this counterterrorism operation, the Ministry of Defense places great emphasis on bilateral and multilateral partnerships. Cooperation with foreign forces, particularly the counterpart force of the AS, is a perfect example of this. At the same time, the Malian armed forces are conducting civil military operations. To better inform the public about the operations of the farmer, the Ministry of Defense relies on communication. That is why it has equipped itself with a new radio station and a web TV, in addition to a website, because it is now clear. In a context of insecurity and the fight against terrorism, always relying on others is a very risky choice.
So, Mr. Minister, we are here in this camp that was once occupied by MINUSMA, the famous camp that at the time generated a lot of ink and talk. Now, it is your men who are here. It has already been 19 months, if my calculations are correct, since you took over the premises. What is the security situation in Kidal today?
Thank you truly very much, so much for having me on your show.
Allow me to greet His Excellency Army General Assimi Goita, who authorized this mission. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank General El Hadji Gamu, Governor of the Kidal region, and his staff, all uniformed personnel, and the civilian population of Kidal for the warm welcome extended to myself and my delegation. Allow me to pay heartfelt tribute to all those brave men and women who selflessly gave their lives in order to defend and protect our nation's honor, our cherished freedom, and our sovereignty as an independent people. Today, I am filled with a sense of pride. I give thanks to Allah, the Almighty, because I was fortunate. I left on March 30, 2012, with the last soldiers who were able to evacuate Kidal. Some of my fellow soldiers were not so lucky. They now rest here. But their sacrifice was truly not in vain and will always be remembered. The blood they shed has fueled our determination to fight terrorism and to preserve Mali's sovereignty. You will agree with me that in 2022, not long ago, it was unthinkable to even dream. Alone shows you the symbolic importance of this place. Perhaps there were men and women, courageous members of the media, who had the will and audacity to do it. But just imagine the negotiations, the compromises that all of this would have required from the state. Today, we can travel throughout the entire national territory, take our time, meet with the people, talk with them, and solve their problems. To symbolize our mission and assess the progress made in carrying out this mission. What other city in Mali, if there is any, could we have possibly chosen to sum up Mali's journey towards sovereignty and peace? What city in Mali has suffered more than this beautiful Malian city of Kidal in order to safeguard our territorial integrity? So, it's important to be in Kidal.
Can we say today that the situation in Kidal is under control?
The security situation in Kidal is completely under control. Today, Kidal is one of the most secure regions in Mali.
Yes. Minister, you were here in 2012 as an officer on the ground. At that time, of course, you were with other brothers in arms. You come today as Minister of Defense. How does it feel to return to Kidal, whether as an officer or as the head of the department? Is it the same mindset?
Today, I am very deeply proud, truly proud to return to Kidal. But I am also more determined to carry on the mission entrusted to us by the Malian people. In 2012, Kidal fell. You could say that the Malian state was betrayed. You remember, after Kidal fell, the other regions, Gao and Timbuktu, followed. Mali lost 2/3 of its territory. We received significant help generously from the international community. There was a reconquest. Sevare, Timbuktu, Gawit went very well. But when it came to Kidal, Malian soldiers were prevented from entering. The terrorists were driven out, but the separatists were reinstalled. This just shows the deep and ongoing complicity that exists between certain countries and these separatist movements, making it clear how these connections play a significant role in supporting and sustaining such groups. Today, give thanks to Allah. Despite the presence of all these forces, the security situation continues to deteriorate. The Malian people demanded and obtained the departure of these forces. And today, the farmer have retaken control of all those areas that were occupied by these forces.
Mr. Minister, still speaking about the security situation in the region, when we mention Tinzawatan, it resonates somewhat sadly in the subconscious of Malians. So it's about 230 kilometers from here, if I'm not mistaken. As the crow flies, Tinzawatan, which is somewhat at the center of tensions. What is the situation there today, and perhaps a bit beyond throughout the entire Kidal region?
The Malian armed forces are standing strong. The farmer are continuing the important and ongoing sovereign mission to safeguard and ensure the integrity of the national territory, as well as to protect the safety, security, and well-being of people and property throughout the country. The Malian military controls the entire national territory.
When we mention Tinzawatan, it also brings to mind that incident, in quotes, which occurred between Mali and Algerian incident that reignited tensions between the two countries when a drone, a new drone, was shot down. How are you handling this situation?
The destruction of our drone is a serious act. When we were informed, we immediately activated diplomatic and military channels to obtain more information. But let's be clear, Mali would not tolerate any act of aggression or hostility directed against these important defense devices, which are considered vital for the nation's security and protection. We will not give in to any intimidation or external pressure. Mali is within its rights, and we are pleased that this right is recognized by all clear-minded countries. We have clearly seen the solidarity of our AES brothers in this matter, as in others, and unmistakably so. This solidarity clearly shows that one must be truly and genuinely sincere in collaborating with one's neighbors. We are not pursuing a logic of escalation. We leave that to those who lack vision. Today, Mali is capable of controlling its own skies. We control our borders, and we stand by our choices. So we are appealing to our Algerian neighbors and partners to come. You're right. Now is the time for strategic cooperation, not provocation.
Minister, this brings me to talk to you about military cooperation at the AES level. We remember that on this occasion and on others as well, you pointed out that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso take on federal space here, now a shared theater of operations. How is military cooperation within the AES doing today?
Military cooperation within the AES is going very well. Today, the confederal space of the AES has been established as a unified area to help resolve issues related to cross-border pursuits. Now, we can carry out our missions without having to request authorization for pursuit. And today, with the pooling of resources and the sharing of intelligence, several operations have been carried out within the AES framework, notably Operation Iraqo 1 and Iraqo 2, which have achieved very good results. And we can say that, without a doubt, this significant initiative has in fact truly allowed us to deal a very heavy blow to the enemy as a result.
When it comes to military cooperation within the AES, can we speak of exclusivity? And what about the other neighboring countries? Will we continue to cooperate militarily with them as well, or is it exclusively within the AES, Mr. Minister?
You know, Mali actively cooperates and engages in partnerships with all countries that genuinely wish to work with us in a spirit of mutual respect and benefit, which is completely contrary to the misleading message that our enemies and detractors are constantly trying to spread about us. Today, any state that wishes to work with Mali must simply agree to recognize us as a state and to respect the three principles set out by the head of state, the three principles that guide government action. Mali works with several other countries, especially neighboring ones. There was, in particular, a meeting with Senegal. We conduct patrols with Senegal, and we cooperate with China, Russia, Turkey, and many other countries.
There is more and more talk about Operation Dugugu Loco, about Maliko. We are moving towards Dugugu Loco. For a layperson, the average citizen, what will this mean? What will actually change from Maliko to Dugugu Loco?
We are not fighting the population. We are a professional army where human rights are taught at every level. Today, the Fulani question is a sensitive issue.
Yes, because beyond the Malian armed forces, the AES forces are outright accused of making a generalization in this regard.
I'll get to that. We are not going to make any generalizations. We know that not all Fulani are terrorists. But this is a strategy used by our enemies to divide us, to better rule over us. It won't work. Today, there is an attempt to instrumentalize the Fulani because it is known that the Fulani are present almost everywhere in Africa, especially in the AES region. It's easier to mobilize them. So we are not going to fall into that trap. What I meant by that is we need to be careful. There are people and there are also states and governments that directly or indirectly profit from this ongoing problem. People, including individuals or groups who gather or solicit money in the name of the Fulani community by attempting to misrepresent or distort the issue at hand. We are not fighting against a community. We are fighting terrorists who kill, who rape, and all communities are represented in the army, including the Fulani. Once again, we will not make any generalizations. We know that not all Fulani are terrorists. We know that there are patriotic Fulani who are fighting for the stability of this country. We know that there are Fulani associations that are working for the stability of this country. So we will not make any generalizations.
So the army that is fighting, the army that is being accused, that's a lot of pressure. How do your men handle all of this? How is their morale today?
The morale of our men is very high at this moment because the Malian soldier knows that the country is behind him. He is not defending a regime. He's defending villages, families, a country that is rebuilding. The fight is difficult, truly difficult, but now, after all we have endured, it is ours.
Yes, Minister, in Mali, there is a lot of talk about sovereignty. If we try to apply the idea of sovereignty to the military field in terms of military industry, we've heard about the central workshops in Markala and a munitions factory in Sikasso. Where do we stand with that vision? When will we see a Malian soldier fully equipped in Mali from head to toe, for example?
That is exactly the President's vision, and it is the directive that His Excellency General of the Army Assimi Goïta has given us. That one day, the Malian soldier will be equipped from head to toe by the Malian state. It's not just a matter of image, it's a matter of sovereignty. I would even say national dignity. The Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs is working on making this project a reality. I can even tell you that it has already begun. With the Central Military Workshops in Makala, we are doing a lot of things. The making of uniforms with the Army Commissariat, the individual food ration boxes for soldiers with the Army Commissariat. It's a sensitive issue. I don't want to go into details so as not to reveal our strategy, but it's underway.
Yes, the restructuring of army services, that's it. It's also about capacity building. What other vision is being developed around this project, Mr. Minister?
When the army evolves, the services and the structure must also evolve. It is in this context that the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs has undertaken a review of some of its key structures, such as the Directorate of Military Schools, the Directorate of Military Sports, the National Office for Veterans, Military Retirees, and War Victims of Mali. Carefully rereading the texts of these structures will allow to harmonize training at the army level. It's good to have the equipment, but at the very least, we need to have well-trained personnel. This initiative will play a significant role in not only enhancing and reinforcing the quality and effectiveness of physical training programs within the farmer, but also in fostering a stronger sense of unity, teamwork, and mutual trust among its members. By encouraging collaboration and building a spirit of camaraderie, it will help to create a more cohesive and resilient force. Furthermore, these efforts are designed to ensure that comprehensive and improved support systems are in place for all those who have served, including veterans, retired soldiers, and military victims, as well as their families, addressing their unique needs and recognizing their sacrifices.
Since we've been here, we have had the opportunity, the privilege to follow you, Mr. Minister, but you have regularly referred to President Assimi Goïta, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Mr. Minister, it's a bit surprising for us as journalists who are at the crossroads of public opinion, especially on social media, where we hear some Malians say that things aren't going so well between the Minister of Defense and the President of the transition. Yet, you regularly mention the President of the transition. What can be said about this, for example, in terms of public opinion?
General Assimi Goïta is someone I know very well, having fought alongside him in joint operations rooms and carried out several missions together. You can't say anything except that he doesn't love Mali. This is a strategy by Mali's enemies to divide us, to set us against each other. It won't work. We understand that. I know that the majority of Malians understand as well. Yes, I understand what you are responding to with this, also mentioning the core from which each of you comes. Also mentioning in every strategy. The initiative to equip the armed forces with both a dedicated radio station and a specialized web TV platform was born from the strong and determined will of the highest authorities in the country, who recognize the urgent need to strengthen and intensify the ongoing fight against terrorism in all its various and evolving forms. This strategic decision aims not only to enhance the operational capabilities of the armed forces, but also to ensure the timely and effective dissemination of reliable, accurate, and credible information to the public. By providing extensive and comprehensive coverage of women's activities and achievements within the armed forces and beyond, the initiative also seeks to highlight the vital role women play in national security and community resilience, thereby fostering greater awareness and support throughout society. Today, war is not fought only with weapons. The war of communication is even more dangerous than what we are familiar with. So, allow me to congratulate and thank the men and women in the media who play a very important role in the fight we are waging.
So, Minister, we have reached the end of our interview from Kidal here. What would you like to say in a few words to conclude and as a message, perhaps for the troops and for Malians in general?
My final word is confidence. We have unwavering confidence in our men who have shown great dedication and strength. We also have deep confidence in our people whose unity and resilience inspire us all. Most importantly, we firmly believe in our collective ability to overcome any difficulties or challenges that may arise. The road is long, but it is ours. As long as we stay together, as long as we remain united and support one another, no force, no matter how powerful or determined, will ever be able to extinguish the spirit and strength of Mali. No force. As for the population, I thank them for their support, and I ask them once again to continue supporting the farmer even more. All strong countries, all strong states are backed by strong armies. I would like to take a moment to remember our fallen. May Allah, the Almighty, welcome them into His paradise. They did not die in vain. Thanks to them, today, Mali is unified. I wish a speedy recovery to all the wounded, and I want to reassure the hostages and their families. We are working so that they can join us, so that together we can finish the work we started together.
Once again, we wish you much success and achievement in this mission for Mali. And we thank you, Mr. Minister, for answering our questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sekou Tangara. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us. Malikura Tasira will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. You will once again find Army Corps General Sadio Camara, this time in the official language, Bamanakan, with Mark Koulibaly and Seydou Traore. Have an excellent evening and enjoy the rest of the programming on ORTM.
Thank you so much, family. If you are still here, God bless you. On this channel, I learn every day. I learn under the comment section. I learn through the news, and I have learned a lot. It was through comment that one of you left about this general that I went and did a bit of research on him. He must speak slowly, but be careful. Be careful of that man. And as you can tell, he's very, very important to the Malian people, even though we know they are enemies within. Some will not everyone will love you. We know that already. But this is what they have for us, or what he has for us that is going on. It's a lot to take in, and I will be going back one by one to analyze everything that he has said, because I have other videos to add them to it. Thank you, my families. I won't waste much of your time. God bless you. If you have learned something new, let us know under the comment section. Share it, like it if you like the interview, and also subscribe if you are new here. Credit to ORTM for sharing this with us. I told you before, this is where I get my military news. They have explained it all. God bless you. Bye bye, my families.